here at the Rock. Southern Miss just got done opening the season against Alcorn State, winning Alcorn State.
But it doesn't matter.
40-14 here at the Rock. Here's our instant reactions here, brought to you by Southern Miss Student Media. We're the 4th Street Sports Crew. That's Jackson Kennedy. I'm Dima Mixon. Southern Miss 40, Alcorn State 14. I think we pretty much nailed this game, Jackson. Pretty much all of our predictions. We thought it would be kind of, Alcorn would kind of stay in the game for the most part. I mean, there was never really, Southern Miss was in control of the game for most of the game, but, Alcorn State that long touchdown run was basically their entire offense. But, when you're getting to halftime, I think it was 27-7, and you're only down 3 scores. Kind of hung in there a little bit, but, nobody really thought they were going to win this game tonight. But I'd say, a lot of positives from tonight. Just kind of getting a first look at this offense under Billy Wiles. I think saw a lot of positive things. You saw a lot of things you can work on. I thought, there were several things they can work on. Defense looked very good. I know they're playing a SWAC team, but they looked really good. Jackson, what was your instant reaction?
Well, first off, I just want to commend Alcorn for staying in the game so long.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, games like this can just be embarrassing blowouts, and they never really lost their spirit, Dima.
Right.
And I was impressed by that. I was also impressed just how tough they played. Pretty much every snap that Alcorn had on the defense was an overwhelming blitz package,
right.
Pretty much. And they put pressure on this offensive line that Dima and I have been praising since the spring. And it's something that I was very impressed by, and Will Hall said it, and I would agree. I don't know how you feel about this, Dima. I'd love to get your thoughts, but I could see this team as a low to mid Sun Belt type team, especially, obviously they don't have the depth that a Southern Miss has. They don't have the depth that a Texas State may have. However, they're starters, like Will Hall said, and I'm sure that you've already seen it. If not, you should definitely go watch the post-game press conference with Will Hall. But he said, the first 22 guys that they put on the field, Dima, those are Sun Belt style players, and those are tough players. And so I think it was a testament to just how improved this Southern Miss team is, and you can feel it. There's something palpably different about this year than the first 2 years of Will Hall's tenure. I was at Eagle Walk just over there, and that was the most packed that I had seen it since I've been a student here. And I got into the stands, and I got into the stands, walking up to the press box. I'm like, there are a lot of people here, and the official attendance was 30,335. That is incredible. And I know that Alcorn travels well,
yeah.
But it was mostly just this side. This entire side, even up to the nosebleeds, was nearly full, Dima. There were about 2,000 seats on this side missing at max. And
yeah.
The fans stayed for a majority of the game, and I was thoroughly impressed by it. So I just want to say, there is something very different about this year. And I would say my instant reaction is, wow. Imagine saying that, you had 5 catches for 104 yards for 1 wide receiver, and your quarterback was, 21 of 28 for 257 yards, and he only played for 3.5 quarters?
Yeah.
Imagine saying that last year.
Yeah.
Even against Northwestern State, that would have been a huge thing.
Yeah, and I think, it's funny because on the pregame show, our co-anchor with Zion Cochran, actually, one of his bold predictions was that Billy Wiles was going to throw for 3 touchdowns and 250 yards, and we were kind of like, man, that's the state of the quarterbacks now, that this is a bold prediction that you throw for 250 yards. And we made him go a little bolder, and he said 5 turnovers for the defense, which didn't happen. But yeah, Billy Wiles, I feel like he showed tonight why he won the job. Holman came in the fourth quarter, threw a terrible pass. It should have been intercepted. Kind of got bailed out on a defensive PI. But for the most part, outside of 1 or 2 plays, Billy was in control running this offense. And, you saw his favorite target, Ja'Karius Caston, 107 yards, just like Jackson said. But, he really spaced the ball out. I think 9 different players had receptions, with Ja'Karius Caston obviously having the most. But, Latrell Jones right there with 68 yards on just on 3 catches. So I thought Billy Wiles had a terrific night, and I thought I really did think that he was in control for most of the drives, and I felt like every time they dropped back to pass, it was going to get caught, which, that is not something that, Southern Miss fans are used to seeing, because, these receivers are running wide open most of the time, and I feel like it was harder for Southern Miss to run the ball, which Can I say that again? It was harder for Southern Miss to run the ball in a football game. Can I say it again one more time?
Dima, I want you to actually get a little closer to the camera.
It was harder to run the ball
to
than
run the
throw
ball.
the ball.
Then throw the ball. I want
that would
to
be my instant reaction. Which I'm not saying it was necessarily like they couldn't run the ball, but it felt like it was easier for them to throw it.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It was awesome to see because that's what you want to see in an offense.
Right.
Obviously, if it were up to me, hand it off to Frank Gore Jr., get a touchdown every play. That would be electric. However, that's not how football works.
Right, and who would have guessed that?
Yeah.
Frank Gore was third on this team in rushing yards tonight.
Yeah, and
so that's crazy.
It was awesome to see because with this defense, and we'll get more into it later in this video or in the next video, but this Alcorn State defense, they almost exclusively ran that blitz package.
Yeah.
And it was domineering. Like I'm saying, those 11 starters could take out a couple Sun Belt teams. I think they could easily take out 4 or 5 Sun Belt teams with those 11 starters just because of how good they were. And they put pressure on this offensive line, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that was impressive. And running that blitz package made it very difficult to run the ball.
Right.
But what it did was it allowed those questions to be answered. Like, hey, if you're a Southern Miss fan and you're sitting over here and you're like, hey, do we have ourselves a quarterback?
Right.
And if I am talking to you as a fan, you do. You have a good, you have not only just a quarterback, you have a good one, a very good one. I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
Obviously, the turnover is something that you'd like to have back, but for your first game jitters, your first start since high school in May of 2021.
Right.
That was his first start since May of 2021 whenever he was in high school, and that was with COVID and all the crazy stuff that happened with that. His first start now in over 2 years, and it's in front of over 30,000 people, and you have that much command, and you only have one minor slip-up early in the game, and the rest of the game team, he was lights out. And even though we were saying, and we are saying that it's harder to run the ball than it was to pass the ball, the run was still impressive. You still got Dreek Clark had a 35-yard run, Ty Mims had a 26-yard run, Frank Gore Jr. had an 18-yard run, and Rambo had a 12-yard run. It's not like you couldn't run the ball. It's just that you didn't need to. It was more fun and it was easier to throw the ball.
Right.
And I feel like that was what was so much more impressive.
Well, if it was 3rd and 3, they're throwing, which is not something that we're used to seeing. And I think that's why it was so impressive. That's our instant reactions. We're going to have a couple other videos you can check out on this YouTube page. And also you can see more of this. We're going to have a post-game pod out to you tonight. You can listen to it in the morning, whatever. You see more of this, talking about this game, breaking down this game. That's Jackson Kennedy. I'm Dima Mixon. Thanks for watching.